Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to the Ground Genius. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some hot takes after week 1. I asked my community this and some other creators, and I wanted to see what they had to say. So subscribe if you want to be featured in a video in the future. But yeah, I'm just going to be going over each hot take and then giving my opinion on them. And the first hot take is from NFL.Fantasy 101. He has 2 takes. And the first one is that Omarion Hampton is the best rookie running back. And this year, I honestly may agree. His first game versus Chiefs, he saw 15 attempts and 48 yards. And that's a pretty good amount of attempts. So if he can keep that up, that'd be nice. In week 1, the Chargers also had the second most pass attempts over expectancy. And out of the rookie running backs, he is on the best team. Obviously, Genty's on the Raiders, Henderson's on the Pats, RJ Harvey's on the Broncos, who are still good, Judkins is on the Browns, and Caleb Johnson's on the Steelers. I know I'm missing out other few guys, but they're not those high draft picks. So honestly, the team who probably would be running the most is the Chargers. And Hampton did look pretty good. He just had a few mistakes, but it's his first game, so I expect him to get better as time goes on. I mean, we've seen running backs who are drafted very high come off to slow starts, such as Bijan Robinson. So I've been saying I wouldn't be surprised if Ashton Genty kind of falls the same way. Obviously, Bijan looks a lot better now, but the team around him has improved as it's went on. So maybe that's what the Raiders need to do, just keep evolving the team. Like we've seen over the course of history, you can't just have a good running back and the rest of the team be bad. As there was CMC on the Panthers, as there was Saquon on the Giants. So honestly, I think this take's pretty valid. And that brings us into a second take. And he said that Charbonnet is going to get the RB role by week 4. As of right now, this is a split backfield between Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. Charbonnet saw 12 carries and Kenneth Walker saw 10. And Charbonnet had 47 yards and Walker had 40. So Charbonnet did look like the better running back. When Walker did miss time last year, Charbonnet looked good. I'm not going to give up on Walker yet, at least this early in the season, as it's only week 2. But I honestly think there is a conversation there that needs to be had. It wouldn't surprise me if Walker got traded to another running back needy team, and Charbonnet truly did step into the RB1 role. But for now, this just is a split backfield, so I guess we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. The Seahawks are not going to be a good team, and it will be a pretty QB-friendly environment for Sam Darnold. You know, Kenneth Walker is also very injury-prone, so it wouldn't surprise me if that's how Charbonnet becomes the RB1 again. And that takes us into our next hot take from JS3 Zone Report. And he said, AJ Brown sucks. I know he's just kidding, and AJ Brown definitely does not suck, but to say he was a disappointment in week 1 is an understatement. In week 1 versus the Cowboys, he's seen 1 target and 8 yards, and that's pretty concerning. But not only AJ Brown was bad, it was Devontae Smith too. And I honestly thought this Eagles team was going to be a little more pass heavy, just because I didn't think they're going to have as much leads in games. But Jalen Hurts did steal some touchdowns, so that took away from the red zone work of the wide receivers. So I expect AJ Brown to bounce back. I just don't know if he's a consistent fantasy option, because some of the top receivers in the NFL, like Jamar, Justin Jefferson, I believe CeeDee Lamb, have never had that kind of game like AJ Brown, only seeing 1 target the whole game. So it definitely is concerning if he was a top 10 receiver off the board and he's doing that bad. Obviously, there is new coaching there, and he was dealing with a hamstring injury in the offseason, so that could play a part in it. But I guess we'll just have to see how they'll play out there in Philadelphia. And that moves us on to a take by 3 guys, 6 balls NFL podcasts, and they said that Keon Coleman will finish in top 10 in receiving in 2025. Looking at his week 1, he had 8 targets, 112 yards, and 1 touchdown. I think one of the Bills wide receivers has to step up, and Coleman is the younger one out of him and Shakir. Last year, Keon Coleman finished with 556 yards, and Shakir finished with 821. So Shakir was the leading wide receiver on the team, but Coleman did miss some games, only playing 13. I definitely do see him ending up with more touchdowns this year, as he only had 4 last year, and there is a lot to be excited about, especially in week 1 from his target percentage. In week 1, he had a 26% target share. Obviously, I don't know if it's going to carry over throughout the season, but in his rookie year, he only seen 15%. Sure, not every game the Bills are not going to put up 41 points, but obviously as data shown, wide receivers tend to break out more in year 2. So it wouldn't surprise me if he does definitely get better. I think he also finished pretty high in ADOT last year. I forget what number he exactly finished at. I think it was somewhere around 6. But there are things that I still am a little questioned about in his game. I just don't think he has the size to be an elf wide receiver that demands targets. He also has some holes in his separation that he gets each play. So that's another reason to add on to that. He's also not in the ideal red zone offense, as they do have Josh Allen, who likes to run in the ball, along with James Cook, who vultures a lot of touchdowns at the goal line. But I think there is a lot to be excited about Keon Coleman. As in week 1, like I was saying before, he had 8 catches. Comparing that to last season, the highest amount of receptions he had in a game was 5. So there definitely is some room for improvement. I definitely could see him finishing top 15 in receiving yards. I just don't know, at least at this point in his career, if he's going to finish top 10. And that takes us onto the next take by Roberto and Guru, and he says the Miami Dolphins are not consistent fantasy options. Honestly, this is facts, or at least in week 1. They struggled heavily versus the Colts, and I mean heavily. The only player that was semi-usable that week was Devon Achane, and that came from a garbage time TD. Without that, they basically all would have busted, and I'm not touching any of those wide receivers. Tua looked bad in week 1, and I mean bad, throwing multiple picks. Darren Waller also isn't even playing. He had a setback. The players recently just had a players-only meeting without Mike McDaniels, so he's on the hot seat. And honestly, this game versus the Patriots really says a lot. If they cannot beat them, then honestly, they might just need to blow up the team. I know there's teams inquiring about trading for Tyreek Hill, so obviously that's not good. When teams are inquiring to trade for your top wide receiver only after week 1. It's crazy. This team was putting up 70 points in a game, and Tyreek Hill was the best wide receiver in fantasy. And now to look at them, and just the collapse is honestly insane. Like, they really got blown out to Daniel Jones and allowed them to score 33 points on them. And the last take comes from East Wonky 011. I think that's how you pronounce it. And his last take is that the Chiefs will go 1-3 over the first 4 weeks of the season. And they're currently 0-1. And looking at their next opponents, they're honestly pretty tough. They next face the Eagles, which definitely will be a close game. And, they're really only down to Hollywood Brown right now for the receiving options. And obviously Travis Kelce. But Xavier Worthy has already been ruled out for this next game versus the Eagles. And we all know that Rashid Rice is currently suspended for 6 weeks. And the run game is honestly not there. Pacheco's not looked good since coming back from his injury. And dating back to last year, since coming back from his injury, he's only averaged around 4.5 fantasy points each game. So that's definitely not cutting it to help the Chiefs win. And then they face the Giants in week 3, and that should be a win. The Giants looked really bad in week 1, and I think they're still figuring out their QB situation. I have a feeling that Jackson Dart will end up starting some games this year. It could be similar to what we've seen from Drake May. And then after the Giants, they play the Ravens, who to me looked very good in week 1. I know they ended up losing, but that really was not Lamar's fault. Derrick Henry did have a costly fumble. I'm not saying it's his fault either, necessarily, because he had a really great game, but that Ravens team still did drop 40 points. So I honestly could definitely see the Chiefs also starting off 1-3. But yeah, I know this is a short video, guys. I just wanted to go over some of your guys' takes. Let me know what you guys think about these takes, and also comment down some takes that I can go over in a future video. But yeah, that will wrap up the video, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and bye.